Hi, I'm Rob Parsons, Practice Director for Network and Security here at Insight. Today I have with me JJ Safer, Practice Development Manager around security, and we're super excited to be digging into what we at Insight look at and talk about as the modern edge. And really for me, the modern edge is really the concept that what we saw as the traditional edge is moving. We're seeing it shift into the cloud. We're seeing additional complexity come from that changing environment. And ultimately, our clients are trying to provide seamless access everywhere from any device to any data. They're trying to optimize their connectivity between those different data sources and end users, and they're trying to ensure that that is completely secure. So as we talk about the modern edge today, I challenge you to think about those three components and think about how that might apply in your environment. So JJ, I want to start off. Let's start with IoT. You know, it's a huge elephant in the room. We're seeing a huge influx of IoT. Really, everything's IoT. But what does that mean for us from a security perspective as we talk about creating that complete secure environment for our clients?
Sure, Rob. Thank you. IoT, it's really hard. You know, a lot of people don't even necessarily understand, what is, IoT. It's got a pretty interesting little name, Internet of Things. What does that mean? But for practical descriptions, it's effectively all those little devices out there that, are kind of little servers sitting on your network that someone else is pretty much responsible for, and you've turned it on because of a function that it provides without really thinking, or certainly maybe not thinking about, but certainly not planning for what does it mean, to have that stuff on my network. Are there opportunities, that I'm opening myself up to, in a negative way, that has the potential to hurt my network. And so, healthcare is one perfect example. What isn't network connected now? And, IoT, it's specialized. There's special protocols inside of that. And so it has to be taken, with a certain level of perspective, and has to be addressed properly because it's not just like everything else. So it's there's been a lot of different solutions out there, and certainly, we've done a tremendous amount with that. But there's a lot of people, at the end of the day, if they don't think that they have IoT, they're probably mistaken, because they probably do have IoT and they don't even know it now. And that's actually the scariest part about it, is it's a whole nother vector in solution, in area that needs to be protected, and a lot of people just aren't even aware, that applies to them.
So much security is shifting to the cloud, and that's bringing a lot of capability, but where do you think the future of cloud security takes us?
Wow, that's a rough question. So, obviously we're seeing a much more of that functionality, being cloud delivered. And in terms of the ability to adopt new solutions, from a customer's perspective, it's never been better. It's never been more exciting, and it's ultimately never been easier. So, you're not having to build these solutions and figure them out and then manage and maintain. It's literally, it's like, okay, let me just check that check mark. I want to do SaaS security. I want to do IoT security. I want to do DLP. Instead of having to go figure out, okay, well, how am I going to build this? And which vendor am I going to select? And what parts and pieces are going to make that up? And let me go and test and all of this. And then, how do we scale it? More importantly, then, how do we support it? How do we manage and maintain that? Well, with this cloud functionality, fellow does DLP integration. They release it and boom, there it is. Now, as a customer, I'm able to enable this with a check mark, and I can segment it off, I can do it in a little test environment, whatever, but, it's that much easier now for me to adopt and consume, these new solutions, which fundamentally, exponentially increase the security maturity and the security of, our customers' networks and their environments and ultimately their data.
As I think about the the legacy infrastructures that we really thought of as the edge. We thought about the perimeter that our clients put around their environments. We ultimately see that shifting. We see the multi-cloud environments being part of that. We see, SASE as part of it. But let's talk about some of the challenges of legacy architectures, right? The MPLS, the traditional WAN circuits. Like, what kind of pain points did we see from those that we're able to mitigate now?
Well, lots of pain points. And as you alluded to, the hardest thing is just for a customer is determining what is their edge, because it's different for everybody. And again, if you don't know what it is, how do you attack it? How do you address it? And so that's part of where our discussions start with our customers, is helping them identify their actual edge. Does it include cloud? If so, well, what parts of cloud? There are many different pieces of that, and they each need to be addressed independently. In terms of just the edge itself, we've always been dealing with, the internet side of things and the internal side of things, and that's changed dramatically, especially now that we have such a high demand, of remote workforce, right? So they may be at home, they may be at a coffee shop. Where is that edge? Where is it? What defines it? And then when you start to have these discussions, you really need to be also having, the other part of that, and that is the connectivity piece. And that's that SD-WAN, discussion, because quite often, when these customers that have these issues with remote access, it quite often involves multiple offices. And as you were talking about MPLS, it's an outdated but extraordinarily expensive, technology. And there are better ways to do it, that are more cost-effective, more flexible, and ultimately give, the customers more value, for their money, but you have to do it right. And so, the edge involves both of that, and that's where you get into SASE. And from the Palo perspective, there's really two solutions, traditionally that have created, that oversight and visibility and control piece, and that was Prisma Access, for the access piece for remote users and for remote networks. But also is Prisma SD-WAN. And Palo has now combined those two, into what they call now Prisma SASE.
Absolutely. So, this discussion really makes me think about a client that we've helped to navigate some of these challenges, which is Hidalgo County. And for this organization, it all started with the need to bring wireless connectivity and bridge the digital divide for many students who were trying to consume education through the pandemic. But we also had to secure that environment. We had to optimize that environment. And at the end of the day, they changed where their edge sat. That county edge used to sit at the edge of, a county building or facility, a physical environment. And now we're reaching into the public, providing that access for new consumers of the technology, but we also have to secure it. And Palo was a big part of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely were. So obviously Palo's been around a long time. They've got great solutions, and they've been able now to bridge that gap between your on-prem and your cloud, and ensuring that what they've developed over decades in terms of their security capabilities and control and protection solutions. They now can offer that in those cloud environments. So now our customers are able to protect both of those or all of that, with a single vendor, which is really exciting. To be able to not only come up with solutions for our customers, but when you can do it with a single vendor, it's just everybody wins.
Yeah, so I think one of the cool things about Hidalgo County as we look at it is really they were able to check all the boxes as far as when we look at the modern edge. They provided seamless access to all of these students that are bridging the digital divide. They ultimately optimized connectivity, and then they provided it in a very secure manner. And when we look at that modern edge and we're talking about getting access for all of the users to all of their data from anywhere to anywhere, we think about how we provide that, right? And it's across Wi-Fi, it's traditional networking, it's Ethernet, it's WAN circuitry, SASE is a part of it, 5G and private LTE are all components. And we've ultimately got a very complex solution that is what our clients need to be able to move forward. And in order to kind of consume that, we had to break it apart into a reference architecture model and, a reference architecture for each one of those categories. And so as I think about securing the environment, there's east-west security, there's network segmentation, there's the identity and access management components, but there's also orchestration and automation, which are very close to me and, something that I'm really passionate about. But Palo's got some incredible solutions around orchestration and automation. Can you take me through how organizations are simplifying what they're doing using some of those Palo tools?
Sure, Rob. No, thanks for that. So Palo's solution is called XOR, and it's been around a long time. It's a phenomenal solution, and it's extremely compelling. So security departments, what they're inundated with is information, just mass amounts of it, because they now have tools out there that can give them the visibility. But now what they have to do is consume all of that and find that needle in the haystack, to go through just gigabytes or maybe terabytes of log data and information to find out, well, what's relevant, where is my risk, what is going to be the bad thing that's going to happen this second or next minute, next month, what's it going to be, and then what do I do about it when it happens? And so while they now have the visibility and to some extent the control, what they don't have is an automation piece, so that when they invest the 3, 4, 6 hours in addressing that solution that was discovered, they can't repeat that process without investing another 6 hours. And so it's just, how do you get ahead of that? Well, you can't. What do you have to do? You throw more bodies at it, So as the issues go up, you throw more bodies at it. It doesn't make sense. So, with XOR, our customers can take these pre-canned playbooks and drop them in, tweak them as necessary, and now when they invest that 3 hours, it's addressed forever. It actually can go and, let's say for fishing, it can identify the fish, it can go out and find out, was it click? Did it click? Did it go anywhere? Did it go left? Did it go right? Whatever it may be, it has eyes on and it can identify all that, report on it, but then act on it. If some kind of mitigation event needs to take place, it can do that. Take all the information, wrap it up in a ticket, and send it on. So now you've got the ability to take what that analyst is able to do, automate it, and then continually and exponentially reap those rewards. So if it took 3 hours, well, now you do 3 hours once. And now it's repeatable 24/7, 365 without more bodies.
So you're really managing some of the challenges that we see in the security talent pool as well by leveraging automation, leveraging the talent that you already have in-house to be able to create those playbooks and customize them to your organization. And that's fantastic. And, as I look at providing that seamless access, ultimately securing it and optimizing, all of those attributes of the modern edge are underpinned in orchestration and automation. So that's fantastic. JJ, thank you so much for talking with me today. This stuff's super exciting. The modern edge is really something that our clients are adopting day in and day out, and they're making great strides in the outcomes that they're able to provide for their clients. So we want to continue helping them, and we want to give you some more information as well. So follow up, we're going to have another smaller session focused around cloud security. Super excited for that one, digging into some of the outcomes that we can provide with cloud security, why our clients are adopting it, and ultimately how we're helping them to navigate those additional complexities as well. So look for that. JJ, thanks for joining me today. It's been awesome. Thanks,
Rob.